Blizzard has tried to revamp leveling once before. It was the first expansion ever where subs started to drop. It wasn't until much later did they finally admit they had spent way too much time trying to update outdated content which almost no one returned to see even after it was revamped. And then they didn't even have enough time for endgame content where the vast majority of players were and still are. Of course, 5 expansions later WoW has changed, but leveling hasn't, and for good reason. Almost all the player base is at endgame, means the leveling experience is only seen by a tiny portion. For the tiny fraction of players who even see the leveling experience, most come under one of 4 groups. The first, the boosters, the people who will always buy a boost because they hate leveling. The chance that they try out normal leveling just because it's been changed a little bit is minuscule, when a boost is just way too convenient. The second group is those who begrudgingly level manually when the rewards are worthwhile to do it. These are the people who level for allied races but would otherwise choose to use a boost. These players, whilst would benefit from a change to leveling, are almost assuredly would prefer that time spent developing endgame content where they spend the vast majority of their time, as leveling is seen as a means to an end rather than the journey itself. The third is those who actually like leveling. While this is a very small demographic, I'm sure they might like an update to leveling, but they already like the current version enough to enjoy it, so any changes you make are risking these people quitting. So you have to change it by such a small amount as to not remove leveling's core target demographic, limiting any benefit of changing it for any other type of player. The final group is new players. However, ever since the invention of the boost, most new players will skip straight to endgame content, and thus won't experience leveling until they've experienced the endgame content first. So its primary purpose of teaching new players is pointless, as they've already experienced the much harder content available at endgame. So for the vast majority of new players who get around to leveling a different character are in a fairly similar situation to a long-term player who's trying a new questing route. Leveling is seen as an annoying chore that they have to get through with a slightly different story, but it's otherwise extremely long and boring slog. What is the end result of the leveling changes going to be? Players can level a little bit faster, maybe, if they're currently unable to make gold effectively, but for those who choose to boost, they still will, and those who formerly liked the leveling experience might still, or they might not. Before they were satisfied, and now they might not be. The only real result of putting a large chunk of development time into leveling is less into endgame content, which the vast majority of players want and will leave if they don't get. So the only certain thing is that leveling revamp, whether it's good or bad, will bring in less endgame content and thus a large drop in subs. It's a lose-lose for almost everyone. Don't forget to check out some of my other videos which will appear now, and don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell icon, and if you have any video ideas you'd like to see, leave a comment down below.